Okay, Ishan Prabhu, we're live, so please introduce the
Okay,
topic and we'll get going.
okay. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Kristaya Bhutale Himate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charine Nidesha Shunyavadi Apachat Yadesa Charine Jaya He Krishna Chaitanya Hey Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare 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 Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, today we're going to talk about this subject matter, Guru. Who is Guru? Guru, only topmost pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Last week we had one visitor, uh, a nice young Mataji. She was asking that sometimes devotees are very much critical of other devotees and talking about, ISKCON has a guru system. The Ritviks have a guru system, and then some other divergent nonsense groups have a guru system. So, and she said that maybe this lady, Sri Radhe, something Sri Radhe Hari, I think, something of that nature. Nice young Mataji. So sweet. So she was asking, is it right that we should be so much roof, so much aggressive against? So we read in the Nectar of the, of course, if somebody is coming against myself, if someone is coming against yourself with accusations, with negative statements making, then we should tolerate, just like Trinadapi, Sunichena Tarodapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari, that we should be more humble than a blade of grass, and and accept. But if someone is talking against Krishna's pure devotee, uh, then we should be like fire. Then, then uh, it said that we should we should uh, So what the people of ISKCON have done, they have pushed Srila Prabhupada off his Vyasa-san. And they have tried to sit there for themselves and to accept worship that is meant for Srila Prabhupada. I have seen video where they are washing one of their ISKCON gurus, the students are washing the feet of their guru, so-called, with milk and honey and drinking. And that if you or I were going to, if someone said, we're going to wash your feet with milk and honey and we're going to drink, would we accept? No, it's unthinkable. It's only because of some, well, who knows what. But in Nectar of Devotion says, if someone offends a pure devotee, we should be ready to cut out their tongue. If we can't do that, then we should try to convince with conversation, with logic. If we can't do that, then we should go away and have nothing to do with such people. Otherwise, it will impact negatively our own chances of having a spiritual life. That we are enduring such an offense to Srila Prabhupada, aside from the fact that they're completely disobeying his instruction. So, we cannot convince on the basis of what is Srila Prabhupada's instruction, because for every argument we put forward, there is this letter, there is this recorded talk, there are devotees who ask Srila Prabhupada and have heard these things. There are even of those gurus, so-called, who have taken that role, Topeka, I don't know the name of that canyon. It is on record recorded that Tamal Krishna, the head honcho of this whole rascal organization, has admitted openly that it was a hoax. It's on record. But then he went back. And then another one, Hansadutta, at the time, Hansadutta Swami, he stepped down from that position, said, Srila Prabhupada, he never wanted us to do this. He always said, all new disciples, you will initiate on my behalf as a representative, Ritvik, and but they will be my disciples, Srila Prabhupada said. So they have gone against in such a way. And in Nectar of the which one is that in our booklet? It says that such gurus, they will go to hell, and they will take their disciples with them. So we cannot convince them by logical argument, saying, here's the evidence, here's the documentation, here's what Srila Prabhupada said, here's what some of his own disciples who took the role, the nonsense role of Diksha Guru, here's what they have said, admitted that it was wrong, that we should never have done such a thing. But you cannot convince them in that way. So that now we approach the topic in a different way, on the basis of Shastra. On the basis of Shastra, what is a real guru? What is a guru who can connect a disciple to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna? So we have to think. Of course, every day we're singing. Every day we're singing. There's so many evidences that to be a spiritual master, a Diksha Guru, who can connect. It says that Other levels can become a spiritual master. Someone who's not a pure devotee can become a spiritual master. But their disciples cannot go to a higher stage of spiritual attainment than those gurus. That's in our Nectar of Instruction by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada writes that yes, they can take disciples, but their disciples cannot go higher than the guru himself. And those men, they are Kanista Adhikaris, they're on the lowest level of devotional service. Of course, we're all Kanista Adhikaris for the most part. I'm a Kanista Adhikari, but that we're not in a position to make disciple. So every day we're singing. Every day we're singing, they're also singing. Don't they sing every morning in Mongol Arctic? Shri Guru Charana, Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kebala Bhakati Sadma, Bando Mui Savadana Mate. Hey, that is the lotus feet of our spiritual master. It's the only way by which we can attain this pure devotional service. Right? And then in that same prayer, it said, attachment to his lotus feet. Second time those feet are mentioned is the perfection that fulfills all our desires. And the last line, O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. 3 times lotus feet are mentioned in this prayer. We sing every morning. And what does it say? Prema bhakti ahoite avidya vinashayate. That from him, this ecstatic love, prema bhakti, it emanates. Prema bhakti ahoite. From him, this ecstatic love of Krishna emanates. And if we can catch it, if we can, like Srila Prabhupada says, the sun is shining, but if you place your back to the sun, you don't receive. From him, Krishna Prem emanates. And if one can imbibe that emanation, drink in, avidya vinashayate, then our ignorance is destroyed. Well, why is it destroyed? Because as Srila Prabhupada writes in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:5-25, that the quality of pure devotion, you can catch it from someone who has it, just like you catch COVID from someone who has it. Srila Prabhupada writes, it's just like you catch an infectious disease, but this is a good thing to catch. He says to imbibe, to become infected, it's right there in the book. To become infected with the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of devotion to Krishna. In that association, Srila Prabhupada says, this is not an advanced thing to do, but it's in Srila Prabhupada's very words in that purport, the neophyte devotee. The neophyte devotee imbibes the taste of devotion in the association of someone who has that taste. And that taste makes a taste for all other material things distasteful. That is avidya vinashayate. That is by him our ignorance. That is how he destroys our ignorance. By giving us the taste of love of God, by giving us his taste of love of God, love of Krishna. Our love of everything else becomes defeated, removed from our heart. So, but who can give this taste? Can a neophyte devotee share this taste? Only a pure devotee can share this taste. And therefore, we need a spiritual master who has this taste. How can either the people of ISKCON are outright rascal, outright criminal, outright phishing, outright scamming, or they simply have not understood the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. That's how the neophyte they are. That they have not yet understood the philosophy. You can't appoint someone to be a spiritual master by voting. You can give him all the votes. There are 9 or 11 billion people on this planet. If they all vote for somebody to be a spiritual master, you or me, that doesn't qualify us to share this taste of love of Krishna with anyone because we don't have it. They don't have this taste. So it means that either they are absolute rascal, or they simply don't understand the philosophy that they're singing every day. From him, Krishna Prem emanate. And if we can absorb, imbibe the taste of that emanation, our ignorance is destroyed. Therefore, the lotus feet of our spiritual master is the only way by which we can obtain this pure devotional service. Every morning they're singing. Every morning we're singing. So this is our philosophy, but goes right over the head. Right over the head. So what else? What is it? That's in the Samsara prayers after. What is that one? Fifth verse. It explained that the associates of Radha and Krishna, they're making tasteful arrangements for the spiritual exchange between Radha and Krishna. How they're doing that? Just like we're doing Artik ceremony on our altar, they're also in Vrindavan, in Krishna Loka, Radha and Krishna, they're on a beautiful, beautiful throne, surrounded by their associates. And some are bringing nice boga, and some are making nice kirtan. And others, they are offering Artik ceremony. It says, and the spiritual master is there to assist in these affairs, to assist in these exchanges of service. Therefore, we bow down to such a spiritual master. We are singing every morning. They are singing every morning. So they should let them ask their spiritual master, this morning, were you there to assist in these affairs? That these gross materialists, prakrita bhaktas, that they were there to assist in these, taking such, saying that this is the qualification that a spiritual master must have, and accepting these fools as a spiritual master. This is based on scripture. Forget the argument that whether Srila Prabhupada wrote this letter or that letter or gave this instruction verbally or that instruction verbally. They won't accept that, even though it's already there. But on the basis of scripture, to accept such people as a spiritual master is going to connect them with Krishna? So, no, the spiritual master has to be a Mahabhagavata, a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are so many Shastric references, Shastric quotes that make this point. So, what does it, this means that, so this is the science. Srila Prabhupada always insists that is not a sentiment, it's a scientific process, how to make progress in our spiritual life. And the science is that the way in which one advances in Krishna consciousness, it's not a question of what we do. It's a question of the consciousness with which we do it. Srila Prabhupada said that one can become Krishna conscious, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 72, purport, first sentence. One can become Krishna conscious in a second, or one may not become Krishna conscious in thousands of births. So what is the difference? The difference is, and in chapter 9, Bhagavad Gita, verse 2, purport, that Krishna, of all our services, Krishna accepts only, he doesn't need anything from us. Krishna accepts only the love with which things are offered to him. Where can we get that love? Therefore, this is how we come. This is how we obtain this love. From him, this love of Krishna emanates. Therefore, it's like working under a master, regardless if it's martial arts or bricklaying or electrical or being an intern in the hospital to working under a heart surgeon. There's an apprenticeship. You learn the feeling. They all have their book knowledge. They all go to university and get instruction. I was speaking to a man at the hardware store during the week, and he's going to the university to he's getting book knowledge, what it means to be an electrician. But when he wants to practice being an electrician, to become a journeyman, recognize that he can advertise himself as an electrician and he can go and serve people, he has to work. Still has, with all his knowledge of books, he has to work as an apprentice under the guidance of a master surgeon. And then he learns the touch. He learns the feeling. This is, so Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is an apprenticeship program. So the process is that one has to engage. Have you ever read? Have you ever heard that we should have to practice, cultivate Krishna consciousness in the quote, in the association of a pure devotee, quote, under the guidance of a pure devotee. This is what it means to practice Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a pure devotee. It means that under him, when Srila Prabhupada says, when you're serving the deity in the temple and you're doing artik or whatever, or bathing or dressing, you're not doing. He said, I'm doing, but you're assisting me. This should always be our meditation in all of our Krishna conscious activity that we are doing under the guidance in the association of Krishna's pure devotee. From him, this love of Krishna emanates. And it's an apprenticeship program to engage in Krishna consciousness with his touch, with his feeling. How we can get his touch or his feeling, that therefore we're singing. It's by placing ourselves at his lotus. The lotus feet of our spiritual master is the only way by which we can acquire this taste of pure devotional service. Quote, attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills our desires. Quote, opening quote, O Master, please be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Quote, this is the process of Krishna consciousness. Anuga. They talk about Prabhupada Anuga. And there's something called Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti means practicing bhakti, following in the footsteps. Anuga means to follow. Following in the footsteps of a pure devotee of Krishna who's in the spiritual world. Is it Mother Jashoda? Is it Nanda Maharaj? Is it one of Krishna's friends, Sudam Sridham? Is it one of the Gopi damsels of Braja? They're following in their footsteps, meditating on them to imbibe the mood. But we begin by following in the footsteps of Krishna's pure devotee who is walking on this earth. He was among us and he gave us his presence. So Prabhupada Anuga, it doesn't mean walking behind him. That's a metaphor, following footsteps. It doesn't mean walking behind the residents of Vrindavan. It means trying to imbibe their mood by meditating on their devotional mood. That mood becomes present in our own heart. And that is the whole process of the science of Krishna consciousness. That's our philosophy. So Prabhupada Anuga means that. It means following Srila Prabhupada's mood of devotion. It doesn't mean that what Srila Prabhupada calls the formula. Srila Prabhupada, or he refers to it two ways. Sometimes he talks of, there's a list of instructions, and Srila Prabhupada refers to it sarcastically as the formula, keeping the formula. He said you can keep the formula for 1,000,000 lifetimes. It ain't going to do anything. Nothing's going to change in your heart keeping the formula. He sometimes refers to it as another phrase besides keeping the formula. He calls it mechanical, practicing mechanically. Oh, I have this duty. I have to chant rounds mechanically on Hare Krishna. I can give you so many quotes. Srila Prabhupada said, no, not like that. Pretty means with love, Srila Prabhupada said. You have to, but where are we going to get? Where are we going to get that feeling? Prema Bhakti, from him. This loving feeling emanates. That means, I have to have a very intimate relationship with a pure devotee. Therefore, The spiritual master has to be on that topmost level. Otherwise, I can follow Joe Blow and everyone else. How can I get from them something they don't have? This is our philosophy. Therefore, the whole, whether you call yourself Prabhupada Anuga, or you call yourself ISKCON Guru, whatever, or you call yourself ISKCON disciple, if you don't know this, if you're not even aware of this process, how can we attain the lotus feet? They say, but Srila Prabhupada said, it's written, he lives forever by his divine instruction, and the follower lives with him. What we're talking about, it's not Srila Prabhupada's instruction. These are the instructions. we have to wake up. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, I was in the room with Srila Prabhupada and one other man who has since left, another big man. The big men have all left. They're left or they're died. This man was a Treya Rishi, another GBC, and he was talking to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada shouted at him. He was asking about this, what was that, not penance, some other word, something like that. He said, read my books, he shouted at it. That's what you have to do if you want to understand these things. Read my books, because it's all in the books. Everything we're saying is in Srila Prabhupada's books. If you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there must be 40, 50 chapters, and every chapter ends Rupa Raghunatha Pade. It says, praying at the lotus feet, because Krishna Das Kaviraj is taking Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami as his spiritual masters. Praying at the lotus feet of Srila Rupa and Raghunath Das. Always aspiring for their mercy. He's praying to have their mercy, just like we are praying. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. In our Guru, he's saying, praying at the lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. I, Krishna Das Kaviraj, I write. I write this, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. In what mood? In what mood? Following in their footsteps. He's following the mood of his spiritual master so he can write Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. They're giving him this devotional feeling.
Atonement.
Yes.
Read the books. That's the atonement.
Yes, that's what he was. Prayaschita, atonement. Prayaschita. So Srila Prabhupada said, the atonement is to read my books. So not only we are doing, but it's in our books that people like Krishna Das Kaviraj is doing. He's praying to have the power to be a devotee by praying at the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath, always asking for their mercy. And following in their he's trying to follow in their footsteps, and he's begging for the ability to have that sense of connection. Praying at the lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. Isn't that what we sing? O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Praying at the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath, always desire. So he's begging, praying to be able to have a sense of living relationship with the pure devotee. That's the only way. Prem Shri Guru Charana Padma. Shri Guru Charana Padma. Kevala Bhakati Sadma. The lotus feet of our spiritual masters, the only way by which we can attain this taste of pure devotion to Krishna. Every morning we're singing. What is the use of our singing if we don't even understand what we're singing? From him, prema bhakti. From him it comes. Like light and heat emanate from the sun, he fills the universe with this vibration of pure love of Krishna. And if we can absorb some of that bhakti, then our ignorance is destroyed. There's no other way. So if they can't accept that Srila Prabhupada has written this letter, that these people are to be my representatives and they'll initiate new people, but I will be on my behalf and I will be their spiritual. If they want to try and bury that and say no, something else was added, subtracted, addition, and multiplication, you call it what you want. At least let them try and understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. It's the philosophy of all consciousness of spiritual life. Whether you're a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim, it's all about following in the footsteps, trying to imbibe the taste of someone who has it. Therefore, what is the title of our talk? That the Guru, only the topmost pure devotee can be a Guru. And we have to find such a person and approach such a person and ask him, please accept me as your student. And they say, though they have another concoction. Oh, he has to be someone who's alive now. You know that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he was the student of Narottam Das Thakur. It's written in our books that Narottam Das Thakur accepted Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but they weren't on the planet at the same time. Narottam Das Thakur departed 50 years before Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was born. But he took him as his guru and worshipped him, and he became such a great Vaishnava that he's left us with so many books. It's part of our disciplic succession. So this is our philosophy again. And not that we make up our own philosophy that only somebody who's walking on the planet that they can be our spiritual. Even the Christian church. You go to the Christian church, you want to become a Catholic or a Protestant or a Christian or what have you, and the man gives you baptism. He doesn't take you as his disciple. He connects you with Jesus, who was here 2,000 years ago. It's only a ceremony. Our initiations are only a ceremony, Srila Prabhupada says. The real connection is from our heart to his heart. And Srila Prabhupada writes that in the 10th canto. That initiation means the beginning of a heart-to-heart connection between the disciple and the pure devotee, spiritual master. In that purport, Srila Prabhupada says, and I quote, unless that spiritual master is someone who always carries Krishna within his heart, the disciple cannot acquire from him the power to carry Krishna in his own heart. It's right in our books. Unless the teacher, unless the spiritual master is someone who always carries Krishna alive within his heart, his disciple cannot acquire the power to keep Krishna in his own heart. Because what can capture Krishna in our heart? What is it that enables us to hold Krishna in our heart? Maya is so strong. It is attracting us left, right, and center, up and down, frontwards and backwards. Maya is on all sides of us saying, enjoy me. And we have no power to resist that temptation. That just like in the Lord's Prayer, they're having, and the Christians say, and lead us not in temptation, but deliver me from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. So how do we, what can enable us? Only one thing. There's only one thing. There's only one wall. There's only one weapon. There's only one tool. There's only one vibration that can help us to be able to avoid the temptations of this world. The natural instinct, the natural desire of the senses to enjoy the objects of the senses, whether it's the taste, whether it's the touch, whether it's the smell, whether it's the nose, whether it's the hearing, whether it's the genitals, whether it's the belly, whatever it is. It's calling for us on every side. We have no power to resist it. The greatest yogis in our scriptures are falling down if they don't have this taste of love of Krishna. The greatest determined yogis are falling down. I forget the name, but Menaka came. He was doing great austerities. And King Indra was afraid, this person may take my post. He was so powerful. And he sends his dancing girls, and they dancing before the great yogi, and Menaka was born. So what is it that we have? What is our defense against Maya? We're helpless. There's only one defense. That if we have this love of Krishna in our heart, Maya, powerful as she is embarrassed to stand in front of Krishna. Maya is embarrassed to stand in front of Krishna. We don't need to be so strong. We just have to have love of Krishna. And if we have this love of Krishna, Krishna will be in our heart. Maya will depart. And how can we get Krishna in our heart? Premanjana churita bhakti valochanena. You approach somebody whose eyes are Srila Prabhupada uses this word smeared. It's not a very nice, but tinged is it. The eyes are tinged with the salve, a certain salve. The eyes are tinged with the salve of love of Krishna. You capture Krishna in your heart. Maya can't stay. Oh, where am I going to get this love of Krishna that the pure devotee premanshana churita bhakti velochanena santa sadaiva hridaye shu vilokayanti yam shama sundaram achintya guna swarupam govindam adi parusham tamaham bhajami. Where are we going to get this salve of love? O Master, be merciful unto me. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. The lotus feet of our spiritual master is the only way by which we can acquire this taste of love of Krishna. The attachment to your lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. Is our philosophy. It's the philosophy of Vaishnavism. It's the science. It's not a sentiment. It's the science of Krishna consciousness. It just means that from ISKCON, from top to bottom, from the topmost GBC to the guru, to the disciples, from top to bottom, they are not in touch with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And the so-called Prabhupada who don't teach this, who don't know about this even, I've never heard one of them mention it. I've never heard one of them mention it. I lived in ISKCON in temples for 10 years, from 68, and then I tried for a couple of years after, but then later I couldn't take any more of it. Morning and evening, morning Bhagavatam class, evening Bhagavad Gita class, Nectar of Devotion class. I never heard one lecture in 10 years. What is that? 365 days a year, 700 lectures a year, times 10 years, 7,000 lectures. Minimum. Not once have I ever heard. No, they're teaching. What are they teaching? You do the formula. You follow it mechanically with determination, and you're going back home, back to Godhead. Nonsense. You're not going anywhere. You're staying right where you are, and you can do this birth after birth. So we have to understand that the spiritual master, the bona fide spiritual master, has to be somebody who has this love of Krishna in his heart. All of the spiritual masters in our line, they have come, they're nitya siddha, they're not conditioned souls. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes again and again, one should not, he acts like he's one of us. He behaves like a human being. He eats, he sleeps, he goes up on a morning walk. He told me. I said, he said, I go for a morning walk every morning and I take massage. He can do anything. He doesn't have to even take a plane to go from one country to another, one continent. It says in our books that a pure devotee, there's eightfold mystic powers of the most powerful yogis. It's written in our books, in Srimad Bhagavatam, that the powers of the yogis, they can go into a river at one point, place of pilgrimage, and come up out of that same river 100 or 200 or 500 miles away at another place of pilgrimage. They can make something appear in their hand from another country. A pomegranate. You like pomegranate here? They can do anything. They have eightfold different anima. They can become as big as a mountain. They can anima, laghima, prapti. These different cities, different perfections. He can become so small, smaller than an atom. He can move through a wall. If Srila Prabhupada doesn't have to take a plane, he can appear wherever he wants. So it says in our book that the eightfold mystic powers of a pure devotee are insignificant. The eightfold mystic powers of a pure yogi, of a perfected yogi, are insignificant compared to the powers of a Krishna's pure devotee. So he acts like he's one of us. So one should, therefore Srila Prabhupada writes, one should, to think of him, to think of the murti on the altar as stone, and to think of Krishna's pure devotee as a human being, one of us, is a hellish mentality. Why does Srila Prabhupada write? We must not think of him as an quote, ordinary human being, unquote. And he says, if the president of a country goes into the prison house to see what is the conditions of the prisoners, maybe to hear from them. Of course, today nobody's going to do something like that because they don't care. They like to have people in prison. They work them. They put them in prison. But if a president goes to the prison house, he says the prisoners should not be thinking, "Oh, he's one of us." When Krishna's pure devotee comes to the material world, we shouldn't be thinking, "Oh, he's like one of us." No, he's not. He's not a conditioned soul. He's nitya siddha, means he's eternally perfected. And while he's here walking among us, he's always in touch with Krishna 100%, just as if he has a television set in his heart. Srila Prabhupada uses this example, this metaphor. He says when I write my books, he says, I'm not writing my books, Krishna's writing my books. But they're saying, in ISKCON, they turned the system upside down, that you don't offer first to the spiritual master Boga, then to Lord Chaitanya, then to Krishna. No, they said first you offer to Krishna, and then it comes down to Srila Prabhupada, or to those nonsense so-called guru. So I have a copy of a letter that the man who made this change within the whole ISKCON, and the GBC accepted it, that he did research. And they found out that Srila Prabhupada has made a mistake. They think Srila Prabhupada is making a mistake because they're thinking he's an ordinary person. If Srila Prabhupada is making anything he's telling us is as good as Krishna is telling us directly himself. And if the spiritual master is not a pure devotee, then who needs his teachings? Who needs any of their teachings? No, the spiritual master is there to assist in these affairs between Radha and Krishna. He has this love of Krishna in his heart, and he wants to share this with us. He wants to share this with us. You know, it's Srila Prabhupada. I have 3 quotes that I've copied so far and put on my computer to keep in files. Srila Prabhupada says, I'm not looking for numbers, he said. The sky can be so filled with millions of stars, but if there's one moon, can light up the whole countryside. He says, if I can have just one student who can really carry the torch, who can really learn from me, imbibe from me the taste of what is a moon? What gives the moon its light? What gives the moon its light, that it can light up the whole world, is that it's reflecting the light of the sun. What is the sun doing? It's emanating this light because it's self-luminous. From him, this Krishna Prem emanates. Srila Prabhupada's emanating this love of Krishna. If one of us can catch it, we can become a moon and reflect it into the world. He says one real devotee can carry on this movement. He's hoping for one. He's hoping for one. If you read the last sentence in the preface of the Bhagavad Gita, he's saying that if we've distributed how many millions of Bhagavad Gitas already on this planet, still going on. And Srila Prabhupada writes in he's given us this 700 odd pages, 1,000 pages, Bhagavad Gita, but he's hoping that he says in this last, I don't have one in front of me, Bhagavad Gita, last sentence, if one person becomes a pure devotee from reading this Bhagavad, he says, I will consider all of my effort to be a success. He knows what kind of fools we are and rascals. That he's hoping that one can become. And how does one become? Well, the moon reflects the light of the sun, and he is that sun of Krishna consciousness. From him, this love of Krishna emanates. And we have nectar of devotion, pure devotion. Association is like a crystal stone, like a mirror. Crystal, it will reflect the crystal. Association like a crystal stone that reflects whatever's placed in front of it. It's written in chapter 12, Nectar of Devotion. In the same way, if one comes in touch with someone who has this love of Krishna, their heart can reflect the quality that is coming from a pure devotee. But there's a caveat. In order for the mirror, any mirror to reflect, it has to be clean. And similarly, our hearts have to be clean enough in approaching Srila Prabhupada so that we can imbibe the taste of his love of Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Ram.
Hare Krishna. Jai. So we're at about 1 hour and 5 minutes. So
still that much, still so long, eh? This guy talks a lot. I'm trying to make it shorter.
Okay, so you briefly talked. Oh well, you talked about initially. You started off explaining why this gurus came after Srila Prabhupada were unauthorized, and then you went into how one must develop a loving relationship with Srila Prabhupada and how he's present, and anyone can have access to Srila Prabhupada by reading his books, which are the foundational basis of Krishna consciousness. And everything you have talked about, you have quoted from Srila Prabhupada's books. So my understanding is that it's been a little over 50 years, 1965 to 1966 to now. So maybe 60 years, 59 years that has gone or passed in time, and many things have changed when Srila Prabhupada was present or is still present in sound. He lives forever in his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. Srila Prabhupada quotes that in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So a lot of devotees have, like you said, you lived in 10 years in the temples and you never heard about, Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite, Avidya Vinash. So
But
these things that,
they sing it every morning.
yeah, they sing it every day, but there's no cultivation of this.
You don't know what they're singing.
Yes. So, um, so this is quite revolutionary in one sense because people have not heard about it. That's why I think a lot of your god brothers from your time have somewhat misunderstood the whole Krishna consciousness philosophy, at least in my understanding, which they think that by just following the regulated principles, one day there will be a benediction where you will achieve, this going back to Godhead. Just follow the process and you'll go back to Godhead.
They're adamant
Yeah.
because Srila Prabhupada has said things like that. But they don't know
Yes. Yes.
but what they don't understand is Srila Prabhupada's trying to encourage everyone. Because on the one hand, Srila Prabhupada would say, chant 16 rounds, do this, do this, do this, and you go back to the home in one lifetime. And then in another talk, he'll say, when you're leaving your body, if you have the tiniest, tiniest, tiniest pinch of material desire still in your heart, you must come back to this material world. Krishna will fulfill that desire, that you can pursue that. So then you have a choice what you want to follow. If you want to be the most neophyte and believe that if I just do this chanting 16 rounds, then I'm going home. Then take prasadam, keep the four regulative principles, distribute some books. Then I'm going back home, back to God. If you want to believe like that, it's not bad. Because if you do those things, it's wonderful. But all of those things doing, eventually the mind and heart will be clear enough to understand that the only way you can go back home is by having pure love of Krishna in your heart. Where am I going to get it? Prema Bhakti from him. This love of Krishna emanates, and if I catch it, then that pinch in my heart will be destroyed. Ignorance. So okay, I shouldn't interrupt you. Please continue, Prabhu.
So yeah, this is like any relationship we see, husband and wife, father and son, is based on this concept of genuine affection and love. So Krishna consciousness is the same thing, but people have misunderstood. So what can I say? They have to come to this realization. I think a lot of these things stem from not having proper relationships, broken families, so many things that has happened, that has destroyed this feelings. A lot of devotees
What I
or
understand in this respect,
yes,
honestly, and we know that a lot of us are emotionally, what would we call it, damaged goods, eh? A lot of us
yes, yes,
emotional
yes,
have trauma, this trauma, that. Even Gurukula's children are having being sexually assaulted. Uh, and why are they taking birth in such a position that they're going to Gurukul, the children of devotees? Why are they being born in because they have this Sukriti, this this credit, pious credit, devotional credit, but actually they also having some reactions coming upon them from past lives. Krishna's in charge, everything's perfect. So they may be thinking, oh, now I have an excuse that I'm not going to be pursue this cultivation of Krishna
Mm.
consciousness because I was abused in this way.
Right.
So people, so people can, but 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 Jagai and Madhai, we're all we're all Jagai and Madhai.
Yes.
One can use anything they want as an excuse. It's
Right.
not going to help me. Actually, Lord Chaitanya is described as Patita Pavan. He's the liberator of the most fallen, the most damaged, the most damaged goods, the most abused, the most despondent, the most lowly, the Jagai and Madhai. We can't use that as an excuse that the ability to understand our philosophy, the ability to be attracted to a pure devotee, the ability to understand Vaishnava philosophy is what is the right word? The measure of our sincerity. That if we are sincere, Krishna enables us to move forward. Krishna gives us the ability to understand our philosophy proportionate to our sincerity. Srila Prabhupada said, if you are a cheater, Krishna is the biggest cheater. It's the best. He'll cheat you. So Maya is cheating us on Krishna's behalf and beckoning us in so many ways to keep us here in the material world. So if
Mm.
we're sincere, Krishna within our heart gives us the ability to recognize who is Srila Prabhupada or to
Mm.
follow one of those foolish rascals who's trying to take the position of guru. What can he give? He can't give
Mm.
anything. He can't even save himself. How can he save a disciple? But, so, no, it's ludicrous. But, uh, but if a person is sincere, even if they've had trauma, I know. I know what trauma means. I know what kind of a fool I was before I met Srila Prabhupada. I'm still a fool. But we can't use that as an excuse that because they've had a hard time. The the savior of the most fallen souls is Lord Chaitanya's movement. For the most fallen. And but if those most fallen have an ounce of sincerity in their heart, Krishna gives them the ability to understand what they have to do to go about making progress in devotional life. Now, we have
Right.
to. This is our philosophy again. It's not my idea. It's our philosophy. I read it in Srila Prabhupada's books that the ability to recognize a pure devotee as the spiritual master, only the ability to recognize that is given by Krishna to a soul who's ready to hear it, to receive it. Others cannot recognize him.
Right.
So we have to take it at face value and see that people are revealing themselves by
Right.
the doesn't mean
Right.
I should be proud, but it means I should be humble and keep praying for mercy and trying my very best to do fulfill my responsibility. Uh, like you said, marriage ceremony, uh, loving relationship. So Srila Prabhupada said that to receive initiation from a real spiritual master is it's the cultivation, beginning of cultivating a heart-to-heart relation. We're getting
Right.
married to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ishan Prabhu. Janaspriya, also, if you have any comments or questions regarding what we have discussed, please speak now, or we can continue our meeting next week.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Thank you very
Jai.
much for the nice class. Yeah, their philosophy of the fake gurus is fake it till you make it. Just like when you're a kid and you tell a lie, after you repeat it many times, it becomes reality and you start believing it. So these guys, they're so illusion that they believe they're pure devotees.
Oh, really? I thought they were making a propaganda that the spiritual master doesn't have to be a pure devotee.
That too. Prabhupada says, like you mentioned, if you're stupid enough to take a Biloka Nestadikari to be your guru, that's your own problem, That's what he pointed out, the qualifications of a pure devotee. And I asked one of these disciples of this one guru, I said, ask your guru if he talks to Krishna. Not anybody could talk to Krishna, but Krishna actually answers when you talk. That's a sign that Prabhupada said he talked to Krishna all the time. So I don't think any of these guys could do anything like that. And we know that even there might be some that they're somewhat sincere, but they still, because they're taking this step of trying to be the same as Prabhupada, that's the big mistake right there. And some of them actually think they're greater than Prabhupada because they're caught up and they're on the today's and they know how to use all the technology and they think they could become so great and they spend thousands of dollars. Like Radhanath, he has a whole team just to put him on the internet everywhere. And if you put who's the most important person on ISKCON, Radhanath comes out. Why? Because he's spending thousands of dollars. He has a big team of devotees trying to, his disciples, to propagate him as a pure devotee. And I think he's number one rascal myself.
Before he even became, before, even while Srila Prabhupada was here, he was writing books glorifying himself. And what did he call it? The diary of a Western yogi, something like that, copying Yogananda's book. It's just glorifying himself. The man, anyway, I don't want to even talk about it.
Yeah. Thank you for a very nice class, Prabhu.
Just trying, Prabhu. Thank you.
Including is that it for our discussion for today? I think
Yeah.
so. Okay, Ishan Prabhu, thank you very much. Dennis Priya from Hawaii, thank you. If anyone has any questions, feel free to contact Ishan Prabhu or comment. His email is in the playlist. Thank you very much, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol.